So now that I'm awake and we've talked about some dreams, hopefully we can talk about synergy and how our things work together. Um, so a brief, just kind of introduction to my background. I went to Rensselaer Polytechnic. I did a dual degree in engineering and interdisciplinary design and innovation. Um, and my focus was very much focused on the intersection between how we use technology and how we design technology to solve um, big complex problems, and thinking about kind of the unintended consequences of technology and how we can properly design technology to be able to not only be human-centered, but also life-centered. And so thinking about the planet and the kind of like unspoken needs, where it's like we need to go beyond just designing something that somebody likes to use and wants to use and has a product market fit, but we need to design things that are going to be benefiting the people that haven't even come yet, that don't even have a voice, or the planet. And so I had a professor named Bert Swersey who was really incredible mentor. I took and then TA'd this class called How to Change the World for a few years. And it was very much about this kind of like sense of responsibility as technologists and as people with privilege, having a responsibility to work on big problems if you can. And so I've kind of taken that through my career. I have never applied for a full-time job. I've been working since I graduated on different projects. I've worked with the United Nations Association on some tools for organizing climate information. I started an organization called Ties in order to, it was basically a club of human connectors that were tasked with mapping out the kind of like ecosystem of our university and the innovation space, and then being connectors. And then we would just direct people and point people to basically what they were looking for, because we had that like embodied shared knowledge. And I worked in the food industry for a few years, which really taught me how you can't solve problems without looking at the broader system. So I was helping design a zero waste coffee shop in a zip code with no public recycling, and had to like take all the glass bottles and put them in my trunk and bring them home, which is totally illegal to even just like recycle things in the coffee shop. And yet I was spending hours doing all this research on how to get either compostable or fully recyclable products, the supply chain, and realizing that, yeah, if you don't look at the bigger like system, it doesn't matter if you're one sustainable green dot in a sea of red, and because you're just going to kind of get swept up into that system. So yeah, my theory of change is we have to both make the harder sacrifices and make conscious decisions as individuals to be more sustainable, to be better to other people, but also we need to think about how we can at the same time coordinate our actions to be able to change the underlying systems that we're in, which shape and affect the options that we have. And so that's kind of, where I guess I would introduce Catalyst and Trove. So I started working right after doing this project with the human connectors on various prototypes of ways to connect people to information in order to take action. So we built one tool for innovation conferences to do matchmaking between projects and people who are looking to work on projects at innovation conferences. Then when COVID hit, kind of took some of that infrastructure and built a system to connect people to COVID-19 resources. And then ended up getting involved with, through that project, found a mutual aid group on Long Island, where I'm from, and built a system to coordinate volunteers and people who are requesting mutual aid assistance and do that kind of matchmaking. So I've been involved in this sort of like directories and matchmaking space. And I've learned a lot through it. And I've also realized that without the kind of social component, um, having just a directory, it doesn't really solve the problem fully. And so that's kind of where Trove comes in. It's combining aspects of a social network, or what I'm calling a social impact network, and a directory, shared catalog and directory system for groups and communities to not only collect knowledge and opportunities inside, but also across communities. So we don't have to duplicate our efforts, and we could share the knowledge that we don't feel the need to have ownership over, and can constantly just build off of each other's work.